I could literally do 365 straight videos on C.S. Lewis quotes, and I've done a handful at least. I know I did one a couple days ago. I'm going to go back to the C.S. Lewis well here because there are so many good quotes. And the one I referenced last time, I think, was from the book Mere Christianity, which I've read a couple times. It's been a while, but it's such a good book. I believe this one is from Mere Christianity as well. C.S. Lewis says that Christianity is a statement in which, if it's false, it's of no importance. But if it's true, it's of, I think he says, ultimate importance. Like there's nothing that could be more important in the history of time if Christianity is true. So if it's as just a statement, as a general factual statement, if it was false, it would be of no importance. But if it's true, it's of utmost importance. And what does he mean by that? Let's break that down a little bit. Christianity, if you know, what's the pillars of Christianity is there's a God. God sent his son Jesus. Jesus died on the cross to reconcile humans back to in good standing. Foot of the bill for our debt, our sin, which is the debt that humans couldn't repay. And again, if that didn't happen, like if factually, which I certainly believe with all of me that it did, but what C.S. Lewis is saying is, hey, if this didn't happen, if it was just simply a human myth, he said it would be interesting, but ultimately it wouldn't change anything if it didn't exist, if it wasn't true. He said it would just merely be interesting. But if Christianity is true, the events in the Bible actually happened, which I absolutely believe they did, there's nothing that could be of greater importance. And if you read 1 Corinthians chapter 15, read a handful of verses between, I think, like verses 10 and 15. I don't have notes in front of me today, so I apologize. But Paul's talking a little bit about something similar, and particularly in verse 14, Paul says that if Christ hadn't been raised from the dead, he said that our preaching would be useless, and so would your faith. But back to what C.S. Lewis was saying, though, is I always talk about lukewarm Christianity. I think that that's what particularly C.S. Lewis is calling out as the craziest and most irrelevant place that you could be is if you kind of just believe that Christianity is a decent moral framework, or if you kind of just want to pick and choose bits of the Bible to believe and not believe. What C.S. Lewis goes on to say, and he said this multiple books, I believe, is you just simply don't understand what the Bible is saying if you choose a life of lukewarm Christianity. That casual Christianity of just learning a little bit but not fully applying it. He's saying you just don't understand what the Bible's saying. You don't understand what Jesus is actually saying about himself, which is the only way to the Father is through me. I've said this multiple times, but people sometimes say that Jesus was just a really good man or a prophet. And the way that can be quickly invalidated, like that line of thinking, is Jesus himself said that the only way to the Father was through him. So you either have to believe Jesus' claim that he was the Son of God, or you have to think he was a crazy person, because who else would make, if someone was lying and made that claim that they were the Son of God and they weren't, then how could you say, well, yeah, they were really sane and they were just a really prophetic and good person? It's like, no, either he was right and he is the Son of God, which is the Christian claim and is what I certainly fully believe, or you have to think he's crazy, he's off his rocker. I think that's a really important point that I point back to. I think we live in a casual Christianity country in a lot of ways. So many good people. I've had a lot of great real Christian examples in my life, but I think largely as a country, and I've been in seasons in the past where it's like nice to claim that you're a Christian, but you don't actually read the Bible, you don't actually live it out, you're not trying to be a vessel for Christ. And I just encourage those people that are kind of stuck in the middle to really look at and absorb what Jesus was saying. So again, read 1 Corinthians chapter 15 today. And I just thought that quote was really interesting from C.S. Lewis, is that Christianity as a statement, if it was false, it would be of no importance. But if it were true, there would be nothing that could be of greater importance. It's day 308.